Coming to you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
Well, the BBC, the famous and the, what's that, never, ever, I guess you could call them into question. They are the leaders in truth, right? Isn't that right?
They do have a fact checker department, BBC Verify, which I just find so funny because it started off. They have this woman that she either leads it or is very senior in that division, and very early on in the history of BBC Verify, she made 3 or 4 obvious mistakes and repeated falsehoods in a Verify video, which has become notorious. You can search it on the internet. It involves I can't remember the guy's name now. His internet name is Sargon of Akkad. I can't remember what his actual name is, but it involves him. He was, because he ran as a candidate in a political party in England, and it's so funny. But because the BBC have been getting things wrong since day one, really. But they're so proud of themselves. They're so proud that they started a Verify group, which was wrong in one of its first videos.
Well, Trump's threatened to sue them for $1 billion after the doctored video showed up. And I think it was a Daily Wire. Was it Daily Wire? Or who outed them on this? I think it was a Daily Wire, wasn't it?
It was a Telegraph.
Telegraph, yeah. The Telegraph outed them.
I believe, yeah.
On the doctored video. I think we showed you the video before, where they stitched 2 pieces together to make it look like it was seamless. And it made it look like Donald Trump was inciting violence. I think they're going to lose this case because it just looks pretty bad. It looks really bad. We won't play it again. You can go watch it if you want, but we won't play it again in the interest of time. But we're going to play some of the reaction, though, and this is after BBC's Director General Tim Davie resigned, and as did the new CEO. Let's play this little clip here from GB News.
It turns out American President Donald Trump was onto something.
Where are you from?
BBC.
Okay. Here's another beauty.
It's a good line. Impartial, free and fair.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that criticism of the BBC and John Sopel, who was talking to there, apparently was well-founded because the so-called impartial and accurate public service broadcaster is nothing but.
You are fake news.
That's good. That's good. But anyway, the BBC Director General Tim Davie and News CEO Deborah Turness forced to resign. And we do have a clip from Deborah here as she was walking in, another journalist. This is what they love when a journalist can go after another journalist. Here you go. Let's listen to what she has to say about making mistakes.
I would like to say it has been the privilege of my career to serve as the CEO of BBC News and to work with our brilliant team of journalists. I stepped down over the weekend because the buck stops with me. But I'd like to make one thing very clear. BBC News is not institutionally biased. That's why it's the world's most trusted news provider.
Why did you fail to deal with the mistakes that were made?
And see my teams. Thank you so much.
Right, we're going in now. Do you think that the journalists are institutionally corrupt, like President Trump says? Do you think the journalists are corrupt?
Of course our journalists aren't corrupt. Our journalists are hard-working people who strive for impartiality, and I will stand by their journalism.
Is there institutional bias at the BBC?
There is no institutional bias. Mistakes are made, but there's no institutional bias.
But why weren't the mistakes dealt with on Trump, on anti-Semitism, on women's rights?
I'm sure that story will emerge, but for now I'm going to go in and see our team.
Do you think the board acted against you? Do you think the board acted against you?
This way, Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So the question is, why weren't they corrected? I mean, it's not like this is a small story. I mean, this affected, many things. This piece would have been used for a lot of the Republican rhetoric, the Democratic rhetoric talk, all kinds of stuff. These are huge stories. This is a huge story. Because it's not like, you said that, Joe Blow stole some candy from a store that doesn't affect anything. This is the most powerful country in the world that you are manipulating the voter base of the most powerful country in the world intentionally.
And also the voter base of Britain, which is supposed to be America's best ally or one of its best allies.
I mean, this story is not going to go away. But you know, as bad as the BBC is, the CBC says, hold my beer, I can show you how to do it worse. Just that we don't have any other journalists that'll call them out. Where's our Daily Wire? Where's our Telegraph? You know what I mean? Where's our Daily Mail? Because all we have is CBC, CTV. Basically, they just basically walk in lockstep. Go read their websites. They're almost the same stuff. There's one great journalist on CTV, and that's Fassi Kapelas. But other than that, I have no idea what they're doing over there.
But this is, CBC might learn a lesson from this. Of course they won't, but they might. The way that they report anything to do with Donald Trump is disgraceful. They disgrace themselves every single day, every hour of every day when they report on Trump or anything in America. They're not professional. They're an embarrassment, the CBC, and that is also true of the BBC. But it's very telling. The BBC is held to high standards because the BBC is something that people actually want to preserve and fight for. There is actually a desire to rescue the BBC from its ideological captors who've held it for so long. With the CBC, nobody takes it seriously in the first place, so nobody cares. There's nobody that wants to fight for the CBC except the partisans who get what they want from it already.
BBC chairman apologized for error of judgment. This is not an error of judgment. Like I said, this is not an error. This is intentional. This is intentionally spliced together for a message. Like, this is not going away. And this liberal Democratic leader urges Keir Starmer to go after Trump. Good one. Let's see it. Let's see it, Keir. Let's see it.
He represents the party of, dangerously sick in the head individuals, Liberal Democrats. They're just that, and I'm sorry, Lib Dems. They're just completely disconnected from reality, the Lib Dems, and he is the chief clown. So I'm not surprised he would say something as stupid as that.
I was going to play a couple more, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's a big story, though, right? On the other side of that, it looks like that deadlock has been broken in the United States. Looks like they're going to reopen the government. I think 6 Democrats crossed over, and they're going to pass that CR. And obviously, the Democrats losing their minds. Imagine that.
It's just now a feature of American democracy, isn't it? American government. The shutdowns. Like, sure enough, there'll be another one soon enough, won't there? It's just
if you want to worry about something, you should worry about guys like this, though. This speech by none other than Antonio Guterres here. Listen to what he wants now.
Hatred and lies online is causing grave harm to our world. Misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech are fueling prejudice and violence, exacerbating divisions and conflicts, demonizing minorities, and compromising the integrity of elections. Threats to information integrity are not new, but they are proliferating and expanding with unprecedented speed on digital platforms and supercharged by AI technologies. Science, facts, human rights, public health, climate action are under attack. And when information integrity is targeted, so is democracy, which depends on a shared, fact-based perception of reality. False narratives, distortions, and lies breed cynicism, disbelief, and disengagement. They undermine social cohesion, putting the Sustainable Development Goals further out of reach. Opaque algorithms push people into information bubbles and reinforce prejudices, including racism, misogyny.
Stop it.
I mean, the thing is, he doesn't want advice. But if he does want advice, I will give it to him for nothing. I'll give it to him completely pro bono, no consultants' fees. If you're serious about the things you talk about, stop spreading misinformation yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the advice. I'll write it on a little piece of paper for you if you want. This is the same guy who a couple of days ago was talking about how the world was going to end because of climate change. Sorry, mate. That's misinformation. Who's going to take you seriously now? Except partisans. But you don't want partisans to be the only ones taking you seriously. Otherwise, the polarization continues.
The UN has become really a fundraiser for the elitists. Really, that's what it's become. How many of those wars that Trump claims to have stopped, 7 or 8 of them, how many of them did the UN participate in? That's what they're supposed to be doing.
But even just the very fact that it's him, that this man, Antonio Guterres, is the leader of the United Nations. He's a socialist. He was a Socialist Party leader of Portugal.
Yeah.
That, socialism is kind of, it's not centrism, is it? It's a very particular kind of ideology. Why did you put a socialist in charge of this organization, like somebody on the hard left? What were you thinking? What is the UN thinking? What's the UN doing? Who runs the UN? Like, we say Canada's badly run. The absolute state of the UN.
It's their version of the truth. That's why he should say our version of the truth. It's because, they have become basically a fundraising organization to fill the pockets of elitists. Policies for the benefit the few at the expense of the many.
Well, who is he talking to there? Who's his audience? Like, who is he imagining his audience is when he talks there? It's not the average person around the world, is it? He is speaking to that, as you say, the sort of elite, the global elite. He's speaking to his own people.
All those policies, and Canada is still living in that world. I mean, Canada is going to lead. Carney's right. Canada's going to lead in climate competitiveness. It's the only one that's going to actually be competing because everybody else has moved on. Again, when Carney pitches this climate competitiveness, carbon tax grift here, ask the question as a reporter, how did the Americans sign the South Koreans, the Japanese, and the Germans for their LNG when they don't have a climate competitive carbon capture scheme? How did they do it? It's odd, isn't it?
How is it that the Chinese have mopped up most of the planet as customers, as their main customers for all of their goods?
How do the Russians still sell oil? To the Europeans, for that matter. The Europeans are still buying oil from the Russians. I can guarantee you, I would bet everything I have that Vladimir Putin doesn't have a climate competitive strategy or carbon capture strategy. Does he?
The Russians have been flaring, haven't they? They've been burning the gas for ages, which is one of the dirtiest things that you can do in gas production. The Russians don't give a turd.
The Iraqis, the Iranians, I'm sure they have a climate competitive strategy. And the Venezuelans who will sell oil to anybody, I bet you they don't have a climate competitive strategy. So who are we competing with?
But the funny thing is, we're talking about how a lot of this is aimed at Southeast Asia, isn't it? That's our new best friend, apparently, Southeast Asia. Just go into Google, friends. Just go into Google and type in list countries by plastic put into the ocean or garbage released into the ocean. I think you'll find that basically all those countries are in Southeast Asia. I don't think they care about it either.
Well, I mean, he signed two of the biggest economies over there, Japan and South Korea. And the Chinese buy their oil from Russia, so they don't care, right? I mean, they buy coal by the boatload from Australia.
Buy some of it from Canada as well.
And the Australians will sell them all the coal they want, begging them to buy their coal. Short seller, I just put a stock thing in. Short sellers having a rough year. Can you imagine what's the most shorted stock out there? It says the most shorted stocks are the ones that are just skyrocketing. Sorry, Bill Gates. Tesla's going to kick your butt. Sorry, Bill.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News you can trust.